And yet again, we are live. Good afternoon, everybody. It is exactly 4 p.m. I've got the time right today. I got the time wrong the other day when we went live. It is 4 p.m. for sure on Wednesday, the 12th of March, 2025. For those people who are clapping eyes on us for the first time, my name is Ross. This is producer Petch. I always go the wrong way. I go, which way do I point to you? I have to point this way because the camera's mirrored. This is producer Petch. Together, we run actonthis.tv. If you are an actor, and basically you want to learn more about this industry and how to create a business out of your acting career, actually how to earn money, okay, win back your time, actually create a real thriving business, acting, supporting your life just through an acting career, acting on TV in particular. Come and join the membership. Not yet. After this, go to actonthis.tv. We sit down every single week with the biggest casting directors, agents, actors, writers, directors and producers in TV, helping you push your acting career forward faster. And we've got some cracking guests as well coming up. We'll talk about that later. But Petch, today, mate, we're here to spread a bit of positivity again, aren't we? We like to be the most positive voices in this industry, okay? Because there's a lot of negative voices in the industry. There's a lot of headlines knocking around, that will tell you, if you only read the headline, about how the industry is, not in a great place, or how it's unfair and unjust, and how there's little opportunity, or how it's all stacked against you. And we're here every week to tell you that it's not, basically, that those people who actually have the right attitude, the right mindset, work hard, have patience, and deploy themselves with optimism in this industry, can actually make some moves, and start getting results pretty quickly. And we're here to do that again today by looking at an article that was published in the Times that's been going around over the last week, with a sensationalized headline that's got a few actors in a bit of a spin, and it's trying to back up this narrative that, there's a crisis in UK TV. And our experience, anecdotally, and also talking to some of the biggest names in the game, is 2025, there is no major crisis to be framed here, okay? Yes, things, aren't always perfect, as they're not in life, but there's a hell of a lot of reasons to be optimistic about 2025. And I'm experiencing it in my own acting career. So is Petch, so are all our guests that we're bringing on. We're getting more auditions. There's more jobs around. I was just filming something called Daddy Issues for the BBC this week, a new comedy. We've been to read-throughs for After the Flood Season 2 in the last week. I've got a read-through for Runaway, a brand new Harlan Coben drama for Netflix that is filming currently Block 1. Block 2 starts in a couple of weeks. I'm going to the read-through on Friday. There's a lot of production up and down the country. So we decided, Petch, didn't we? We'd jump on, and basically, rather than just read the headline, we're going to tear this article down. And not tear it to pieces. I don't agree with it. I think there's a lot of contradictory things within it that we're going to explain to you. It's not without merit. There is some stuff in there that I'm sure, is justified. But I'm afraid people will read headlines and get worried about the industry. It will zap them of motivation, and then they won't take action to get what they want this year, or they won't go as hard, and thus you're not going to work as much or at all. And I'm just telling you, there is work out there for those people who want it. Before we do that, Petch, if anyone wants to leave a comment, you can leave comments if you're watching on YouTube. Petch can bring them up on the screen. Say hello. Let us know that you are tuning in. I would love some feedback on this and to get your
At the moment,
experience.
We only have 8 people on YouTube watching, but we've got 23 on X, and we've got some
X.
on Instagram. So do come over to YouTube. You can bring your comments right up on screen. You can in X, to be fair. You've got to tap into the video where we're going live right now and leave a comment there. But it's just easier on YouTube. Plus, you can hit that notification bell, follow us, subscribe, and you'll get a notification every time we go live. Nice. So that's youtube.com/actonthistv. Go there now. youtube.com/actonthistv. If you're watching on the replay, come and subscribe. And I'm just going to check out some of the comments on Instagram as well, so I'll still bring those up. Shout out to people tuning in on Instagram. I can see Sam there. Marcello, how you doing, mate? Asan, good to see you, mate. I hope you're well. Lisa's there. John's there. Christopher's there. Gabriella. Who's that? Ainsley's there as well. But yeah, if you want to come and comment, come over to youtube.com/actonthistv, and Petch will bring your comments up on the screen. So let's just get stuck in. First of all, I'm going to bring this article up. Let me know if you've seen this. There's been people in the industry, and I get it because I don't blame them. They've read the headline and they've panicked and they go, I better retweet this, tell everyone about it. But they're just spreading fear that's just unnecessary. So let me just scroll to the top of the article. John says, afternoon, fellas.
All right, John. Thanks for being here, mate. We're hopefully going to inspire you to take some action here and not always listen to the naysayers. So this is the article. It's on the Times. I don't read the Times a lot, to be honest. I start to read a lot of stuff, but this is...
You'd think with it being the Times that it would be reputable. You'd think that the facts would be checked and it would be slightly impartial, wouldn't you? Well, I would.
Oh, well, no, you get no impartiality in the media.
But you think it'd be more neutral leaning than one way or another.
No, well, the Times is I think typically slightly centre right. So actually, it would be more capitalist, promoting capitalism as opposed to what I think is kind of more socialism in this article. But yeah, we will read this. And legacy media in general, don't always just believe what you read in the headlines. You've got to read the full article itself and do your own research. Because I'd love to think, Petch, that people were impartial, but even we're not, right? I'm not impartial. I just try and get down to the facts, but obviously I've got an opinion on stuff, and my opinion is that this industry is what you make of it. I lean very heavily towards optimism. I repel negativity. It's not burying my head in the sand. It's not going, la, 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 I'm not listening to you. For me, I'm just super solutions focused in my life. And I'm like, look, there are problems. Of course there are. The industry is hard. The acting industry is a really difficult place to work, but it's so freaking rewarding for those people who stick it out. They work hard, they're patient, they're optimistic, they're kind to other people. I believe a rising tide lifts all boats, like they say. If I get a peg up in this industry, I like to reach down, help other people, on their way up as well. I don't like filling people's heads with negativity, going, oh, it's against you, there's no point in trying, oh, we're all being taken advantage of. Ultimately, it's show business as well. We need to remember that. This is a business, folks, right? So there's nothing wrong with these companies wanting to make profit, wanting to, grow. I think sometimes, Netflix, and you'll see in this article, Netflix, Amazon, that, have big pockets because they provide a massively, valuable service. People can demonize that, and I think that's what the BBC are doing in this article, to be honest with you. I think the BBC needs to innovate as opposed to throwing stones at businesses that are more successful than theirs. I think they really need to up their game. And, I'm a fan of BBC-made content. Not a fan of BBC News. I think that's definitely not impartial, by the way. But I'm a big fan of, I work for the BBC. I was filming a BBC comedy this week. I am backing UK production, but I just think that this article doesn't do anybody any favours and could potentially hurt people's mindset.
See, you are with the where you were saying there, like, you're totally not impartial. I like to think that I'm the middle ground for you. I am very devil's advocate.
Yeah, Petch is definitely more impartial than me, right? I have some strong opinions on stuff. I always think I'm fair, and the one thing that I will say, folks, and if you want to leave comments, I'd love to hear them. I am so always up for my mind being changed on so many things. I don't think I'm right. That's one thing that I really am not about. I'm happy to have my opinions changed on things and for people to present evidence to me to back those claims up. And I have changed my mind on a lot of stuff over the years, So yeah, I'm always open to that. So you can see, we start off with a sensational headline: British stories are dying out. The cash crisis threatening TV. And it says here, the rise of YouTube and global streamers such as Netflix means raising funding for shows that appeal mainly to UK audiences is increasingly difficult. Now, first of all, I think that's quite a niche thing to say as well. I don't know what they're defining as a mainly, like a British story, effectively, shows that appeal mainly to UK audiences. Because I know out of all of the amazing dramas that have been made in the UK about UK people, UK stories, look at Toxic Town out on Netflix at the moment. It's smashing it. Jodie Whittaker, Robert Carlyle's in it, isn't he? And Claudia Jessie. I was cut from that show, by the way. Don't worry about it. And it was great to do, though. Still got paid. It's okay. It's a brilliant show, though. Please watch it on Netflix. But it's doing incredibly well, and there couldn't be, more of a British show. Really, it's about a scandal that that a real issue in Britain that was affecting British families, and it's doing really well across the world, all territories. So
there's I don't know. There's so many. There's Downton Abbey when that came out. That was quintessential British. The
Crown,
English. The Crown.
Rivals, very British.
Rivals. You've got All Creatures Great and Small, which is just crushing.
Oh my God, you're right. That's massive. And PBS Masterpiece, it's doing incredible things. It's not even on a streamer. It's not on Netflix. It's not on Amazon. It's PBS Masterpiece in America, and it's Channel 5 in the UK, and it's doing incredibly well. Their 6th season is in production literally right now. I was at the read-through just a couple of weeks ago. You know, and it's funded incredibly well. The actors are very well paid in that show. You know, it's not dying out. You know, it's so that you're so right. I've not even thought that. It's such a British story. James Herriot. What's more British than that?
You even get shows like The Office and Shameless and things like that, and that's so good that other countries copy it.
Yeah, and they go, we're going to make it the American version of The Office, etc., etc. So straight away,
but they show the British version first.
Yeah, that's happened, absolutely. But straight away, I'm just like, right, hang on a minute. Feels a bit like they're spinning this straight away. So I'm not going to read this all. Okay, you can go and just Google this, folks. But I have pulled out 5 points that I think are relevant, where the article actually contradicts itself, and I'd love to know your opinions on this. And like I say, it's just really to keep you optimistic, to go, hang on a minute, don't believe all that you read in the media, because, you know, I've got nothing against this guy, and, you know, William, who's written this article, he's doing his job, and he wants clicks, doesn't he? Let's be honest, right? I've been slightly clickbaity, probably with the thumbnail of this YouTube video, going, is there a cash crisis? I wanted you to click on it. Okay, but hopefully I'm going to give you value, right? But I understand people have got to paint pictures, you know, in one way or another in order for people to actually want to read them. And then for the Times, potentially, I don't know how they monetize themselves to sell advertising space or whatever. But I'll very quickly just read this first section here. And then if you want to read the rest, you can do. You can just Google the Times and the title of this. Just Google the Times, British stories are dying out, and you'll find this article. And then I'm just going to go into 5 points, Petch. And I know you've read this as well, so, you know, anything that you want to add, you can do. Where I just think, you know, it contradicts itself, and actually some of the stuff it's saying is a plus for the acting industry in 2025, not a negative. So it says here, Tim Davie, the clubbable boss of the BBC, and now first of all, this is interesting because it's Tim from the BBC who's invited all of these production bigwigs, can't even say it, for a meal. They didn't decide to get together themselves, right? Tim, who's got his own agenda at the BBC, has invited all of these people together, right? And it says he invited them to lunch in the Vanessa Bell Room. He's not inviting them to Nando's. The Vanessa Bell Room. Yeah, Tim invited the boys down to Spoons for a good pint and a burger. No, he's in the Vanessa Bell Room at the Charlotte Street Hotel in Fitzrovia, central London, shortly before Christmas. Among the assembled guests were the creative and business minds behind some of Britain's proudest shows. They included Andy Harris, whose company Left Bank, great company actually, Left Bank Pictures, made The Crown. Jimmy Mulville, the boss of Hat Trick, they're a really good production company, make a lot of comedy, which makes up I Got News for You. Sally Woodward, Gentle, I don't know how to say these names. Woodward Gentle, great name. Exec producer of Killing Eve, another massive show. Tim Hinks, the co-chief executive of Expectation, which makes Clarkson's Farm. And Jane Featherstone, whose company Sister, brilliant company, shout out to Jane, made Black Doves. But this gathering was not reliving past glories. Instead, many of those present used the lunch to vent their fears about a mounting funding crisis that they believe is preventing many British programmes from being made, and to brainstorm potential solutions. If we don't do something soon, then before we know it, our British stories will simply disappear, said one attendee. Who? You've not even put a name to it, because did it even get said? William, who wrote this article?
Was William there?
Were you there, Will? Because you weren't even, you know, they're amazing names there. Every single one of those people are brilliant. They've made incredible TV. And yet William can't tell me which one of those people said that if we don't do something soon, then before we know it, our British stories will simply disappear. A very sensationalised thing to say, but he won't even put a name to who said it. So did it even get said? Or have you just put that in your article, Will, for a little bit of clickbait in the first few paragraphs? Right. Then it goes on, basically, to tell you how these British stories are going to be dying out. Basically, it's saying that streamers, Netflix and Amazon, are having to co-produce shows in this country and half fund them effectively for them to happen. And they only want to fund shows that are going to have a global appeal. So the British stories that only we in Britain would want to watch aren't going to get made. I can't think of any British stories, really, that only we would want to watch that no one else would want to watch, because I'm like, if a story is great and everyone in Britain wants to watch it, then I think I'd have an interest in that if I was American, if I was Australian, wherever I lived. You know, if there was an American phenomenon in the States, a show that was like, God, it's blown up in America, it's amazing. All the Americans are going crazy for it. Why would I go, well, it's about America, I'm not bothered? I might be like, well, hang on, if they're all going crazy for it, then maybe something is great about that show.
Yeah.
I'd probably want to look at that. So you can go and have a read of this yourself. And I'm just going to pull out, a few points now that hopefully will just make you feel better, basically, if you have read the headline of this and thought, oh, God, the industry's going to shit, because it's just not. And the first thing that I want to pull out is what I believe is a massive contradiction, probably the biggest contradiction of the whole article. One of its main argumental points, one of its main arguments is a quote from an exec producer called Patrick Spence, who was the exec producer of a brilliant show last year called Mr. Bates versus the Post Office. Let us know in the chat if you saw it. It was superb. It was fantastic, and it had huge sort of cultural and real life implications for the poor people at the post office who were wrongfully accused of stealing money, and some were even in prison for this. And it actually was a computer system error. And it was the whole story around that. They hadn't been taking money, and it got talked about in Parliament. This show really had a huge, impact politically, and got a lot of people either, I think, even out of prison or compensated. I'm not sure exactly.
I think the compensations are still going on now, from what I can gather. Like, they've offered people some kind of compensation, but it's nowhere near enough or nowhere near what was agreed. And sadly, I saw one person passed away who never even got the compensation, which
bless them.
It's just sad. But
no,
it really brought it to the forefront of people's minds, didn't it?
Yeah. So I don't know if people were still incarcerated or whether they were and they were getting compensated for having been and then let out. I'm not sure of the timeline on that, but it had a huge impact. Basically, I remember it being talked about in Parliament, and it was a beautiful thing that it did for those families and those people, and it shows how important drama can be as well. I'm not trying to play anything down. It is important that these British stories get made, but I also think that's such a good story to tell that needed to be told, that it does have international appeal. That's not something that just people in the UK would want to watch.
Kind of what Toxic Town is doing now, right?
Exactly. So the article says, it quotes it says, Patrick Spence, executive producer of ITV's surprise mega hit Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, believes that financing his 4-part series, which captured the public's imagination last year, would be a struggle if he were trying to make it in the current environment. Now, then, what I want to show you, and I'll do this while this is on screen actually, is that's one of this article's biggest arguments for British drama not being made. And yet, further down the article, buried. Let me just find it where it says it, because it's just the biggest. It's the biggest contradiction in the whole thing. There you go. Can you see that? So look how far down Tim. Was it Tim? Can't remember. What's his name? Tim William. Sorry, William. Get his name wrong. So William's buried this really far down the article in brackets as well. He's put in defence, by the way, of the likes of Netflix, its co-chief executive, so Ted Sarandos, Netflix's co-chief exec, said last year of Mr. Bates, we definitely would have made that show. So the article leads with the fact that, oh my God, look at what Mr. Bates versus Post Office did. It was massive and it had a real impact on people's lives, which it did. We just said how important that was. That'd never get made. I struggle to get that made today. And yet we've just got, buried right down the article, the co-chief exec of Netflix actually goes, yeah, we definitely, not we might have done, we definitely would have made that show. So the article kind of falls apart at that point for me, but I've got 4 other points that I want to talk about that I feel are contradictions and that I feel have been spun into negatives that could be seen as positives. But what do you think on that first point, Petch? Was that something that stood out for you, mate, or what?
No, it definitely was. I read that and I was like, I had to go back and reread it, to be honest. It's like, I thought they said that this wouldn't get made. So how are they saying it wouldn't get made and now they're saying that it definitely would? Like, it's just a walking contradiction in itself.
Yeah.
Catherine over on Instagram has just said, I don't think British stories are dying out. It's just the big streamers are starting to dictate what's being made both financially and what they believe viewers want.
But what I would say is the market to that. So if they're making stuff that they believe the viewers want that they don't actually want, it doesn't get watched and they make no money. So in order for these giants to have become as successful as they have become, suggests to me that they are giving the audiences what they want. And I've certainly seen some incredible British dramas top the Netflix charts. I mean, the biggest show of 2024 was Fool Me Once. That was a British show made here in Manchester. And it was the most successful show on Netflix, full stop, in 2024. And it was a British story,
It was set in Britain. It had, you know, some British, like, incredible, like, acting royalty in it. Joanna Lumley was in it. Had some new names as well, like, you know, in terms of, like, you know, more contemporary names. Michelle Keegan obviously led that. Richard Armitage.
Ross Grant was in that as well, wasn't he?
I was in that, actually. Yeah, thanks, Petch. I was Joanna Lumley's gardener. I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah, I wasn't actually Joanna Lumley's gardener in real life. In the show, I was. I wasn't just employed just to do the garden while she was working on it. But yeah, a guy called Charlie, and that was, you know, that was huge, absolutely, you know, massive, and was made right here in the UK, which suggests they are giving people, you know, shows that they do want. But let me just dive into a few more points. So this actually leads really well on from that comment. Actually, the article basically is framing streamers as a problem. Okay, and I think this is just, again, a shift that we all need to make in our thinking when it comes to these platforms. And I get it. There's almost in the UK, there's almost a natural tendency to demonize any big corporations. And I get it, because we believe that with corporations comes corruption and avoiding tax and, you know, like, oh, they're just taking all of the money and monopolizing, etc., etc. But there's a lot of people here who've benefited from Netflix, myself included, in terms of being entertained by it. But also, you know, I've been employed on quite a lot of shows that have been on Netflix, have been on Amazon Prime. They've been co-productions with the BBC, with ITV. So the first thing that I want to pull up here is that streaming partners are actually creating more opportunities for us as actors in the UK, not less, right? The presence, I've got some notes here I've made. So I've said the presence of global streaming services actually means that British productions can now secure co-funding from multiple sources. That's never really been available in the past. If the BBC wanted to make a show in the past, they had to make it on their own. They had to completely fund it themselves. Now that they can secure funding from multiple sources, it actually increases not just the budgets of these shows, but also the reach of them. The shows that we make in the UK that could potentially be worldwide smash hits, but we could only distribute them in the UK because we didn't have the money for worldwide distribution. We now have that. So when you get Netflix on board or Amazon and they can hit a button and it goes live in hundreds of countries on the same day, as actors, our work gets seen all around the world. Our reach has increased massively. And what this has actually done for this sector is it's led to better rates of pay for UK actors and just more ambitious productions to take place. So the contradiction I feel in this article here is it actually states in the article, this is a line from the article, the would-be saviours are naturally the streamers. So the article itself acknowledges that Netflix and others, you know, Amazon, etc., have already played a massive role in funding British shows, right? So if streamers are the ones willing to invest, then why is this article framing it as a crisis instead of an opportunity for more UK productions to actually go global? You know, we've got more opportunity ultimately to make shows because of a bigger budget. So we'll look at this a couple points down in a minute, Petch. The price of production has gone up, right? And this article tries to spin that as a negative, but the price of production has gone up because wages for actors and crew have gone up. Now, as actors, what's the one thing we've been complaining about for years? Not getting paid enough.
I want fair pay. I want more pay. No more. No work. No pay. No work. Kind of thing. Yeah.
No, you're thinking of no pay, low pay. The equity slogan.
No pay, low pay. Yeah.
I mean, how many campaigns equity gone on? No pay, low pay. We're not doing anything for free, and we're not doing it for low pay.
That's it.
Now, Disney Plus, Netflix, they're throwing millions extra per episode into these shows. So they're looking better, they're sounding better, the cast are better, and you know, us further down the ladder, you know, we're just the day players at the moment. There's a lot of the roles that I get. I'm in an episode, it's a couple of episodes, something like that. Not huge roles. Getting paid better. Still getting paid thousands of pounds for doing a couple of lines. You know, if you do a couple of lines in a show, a Netflix show, fool me once, I think, you know, I had one scene really with Michelle Keegan, and I think I got about $3,500 for that. I did it in 45 minutes. Daddy Issues, a BBC comedy I was in this week, again, I did one scene. Nearly $2,500 for that. We're getting paid better than we got paid before because money going into productions is higher. So again, don't be fooled when people say that production is costing more. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It should cost more if everybody's getting paid more. Okay, and we'll look at that in a couple of moments' time, because I'm actually going to show you some graphs of real pay increases, actually what it means in the real world, like how much more people are getting paid when it comes to their day rates. They've got examples of crew. I don't have examples of actors here because obviously that's a bit more negotiated by agents and stuff, but crew will generally have pretty much set rates of what a makeup artist should get per day, what a grip should get per day.
What a production coordinator, secretary should get per day. But wages are going up. That's a good thing. That's something that we should applaud. So again, straight away, it's painting the BBC as the good guys and Netflix as these overlords who have got all this money that are, I don't know, a problem. For me, they're as it says in the article, as what's his name again? I keep forgetting. William. He actually says in the article, he quotes someone as saying that naturally the streamers are the saviours. They're the guys who can put the money up. So I don't think we need to label this as a crisis, really. I think the BBC have just got a bit jealous. Okay, hang on a minute. We're being beaten because we've not innovated in years. We're being beaten by these massive streamers, And I think that's also why, the BBC needed to innovate so many years ago. It's archaic. People are cancelling their TV licenses left, right, and centre. In protest against the poor service that they're getting. And as I say, I'm not slating the shows. I think the content people produce, for the BBC is great. But I think the BBC themselves, as an organisation, need to really, get to grips with 2025 and the world that we're living in. Which brings me on to point 3, Petch, which is the shift to digital viewing. And they're painting this in this article as a negative thing, where I actually think it expands audiences. So what it's saying in this article is that the shift for people going on to YouTube to watch stuff or TikTok is eating into viewing figures for Channel 4, for BBC, for these terrestrial channels. But what we're seeing is these channels who are adapting and putting content out onto YouTube and TikTok, and you might think that's a bit weird, because why would they give this content away for free? It's actually bringing them completely new audiences that they wouldn't get otherwise. So that's my third point here. I've written some notes here, and I've said the move to digital platforms, including YouTube, actually helps UK broadcasters reach younger audiences and generate new revenue streams. Channel 4 and ITV, who are doing this well. BBC ain't doing this well right now. That's why I think they're complaining, and they're getting a meeting together to go, hang on a minute, why are we doing so rubbish? Channel 4 and ITV are adapting by monetising content on YouTube, making British shows more accessible to different demographics. Now, the contradiction in the article is the article claims that YouTube is, quote, direct from the article, eating into TV viewing times, okay? But then later in the article, this is the contradiction again, Will. It quotes ITV's Carolyn McCall saying that YouTube's audience is, quote, very complementary and not taking away from traditional TV viewership. If anything, this suggests that UK broadcasters are successfully adapting to modern viewing habits rather than losing out. And to show you what is happening at ITV, let me swap out this slide here for this picture, Petch. This is from an article in the Financial Times from 2 days ago, guys. ITV chief exec Carolyn McCall said cost-cutting had delivered savings while enabling the company to grow investments, offset higher costs and improve its margins. ITV said pre-tax profits jumped to 521 million from 193 million the year before. This is last year. And pledged to trim a further 30 million in costs this year. So where's the cash crisis when ITV is saying, hang on a minute, we're now deploying content online, we're opening up to new audiences, we're cutting costs, we're doing what we can to be more efficient. And our profits from literally last year they've more than doubled. They've gone from 193 million in 2023 to 521 million in 2024. So why are we framing this as a crisis, Will? And again, if you just read the headline of this article, you'd think there's no freaking money left in TV. The ITV must be on the decline. Channel 4 must be on the decline. And what the article does is it really skirts over this. I'll show you how it frames that. Can you see how you can frame this both ways? You can either go super negative, or you can go, hang on a minute, how can we look at this as a positive? Let's put the article back up. Let me show you where it's one line it gives to that. So that's a massive, massive thing for me. ITV have more than doubled their profits. And I'm just going to see where it mentions that in the article, because it skirts over that. There you go. So I think it's here. Meanwhile, a weak and volatile advertising market has hit the finances of both Channel 4 and ITV, which last week enjoyed a rare bounce on the stock market after cost-cutting helped Chief Executive Carolyn McCall to report profits growth. report profits growth. I could understand if they'd only made an extra 20 million quid. It's not just reporting a bit of growth. They've more than doubled the profits, Will. Is his name Will? I keep forgetting. Will. William. They've more than doubled the profits. Why have you just skipped over that, mate? Meanwhile, a weak and volatile advertising markets hit the finances of both Channel 4 and ITV, which last week enjoyed a rare bounce. It makes it seem like it was a piece of shit, doesn't it? Like just a terrible, like, oh, they've reported an extra tenner in the bank. Well, hang on a minute. Like after some cost cutting that Caroline, shout out to you've done, you ledge, whatever you've done there, you've more than doubled the profits. You've got £500 million in profits. Why aren't you putting that in writing, Tim? No, Will. Why can't I remember his name? I've got a problem, haven't I don't know. Tim's got under my skin.
You've got real issues with this.
Whoever Tim has got under my skin today. But can you see, folks, again, this is spin. This is just spin, right? This is to paint a picture, to get clicks, to sell advertising. I don't know what the agenda is here, but it's not the truth. You're not being fed the actual facts. And I, of course, I'm biased because I am more optimistic and I do want to inspire actors and I do want people to believe there is hope in this industry and I want the real figures to back that up. But I've just shown you, ITV reported over £500 million in profit last year. And that, that's from an article in the Financial Times from just this week. Does that suggest to you that we're in a crisis? It's so biased and wrong, right? So what point was up to there? Was that point number? That was point number 3. Right, so point number 4, this is where I want to come back to money, and I want to come back to actually the positives around rising costs in production and how it means as actors we're going to get paid more, okay? And for that, I'm going to skip down. We'll cover that graph in a minute, actually, because I think that just shows why the BBC is so jealous. It shows you Netflix's profits up there compared to the poor profits of the BBC because they're not innovating.
Just scroll up 1 second, though.
Yep.
Keep going up just to that paragraph that you were just at there. So it says there, despite that good break for ITV, the revenues of traditional British broadcasters are not growing nearly as fast as their streaming rivals. So scroll down. Let's have a look. So £500 million, yeah? I'd say that's in line with Netflix and YouTube.
So they've got, well, you've got here, so YouTube has gone from 15.2 billion. It's doubled, hasn't it? It's gone from to 36, 20 to 40. It's so saying ITV, that British... Well, ITV,
the ITV one.
ITV is absolutely in line. What they're doing here is they're lumping in, I imagine, the BBC and everybody else and going, oh, it's only grown 10%. Well, actually, it's doubled if you just take ITV on its own and the channels that are actually innovating and adapting to online distribution. So yeah, again, articles just report and frame stuff how they want it framing, don't they? Again, to just paint a bleak picture. But this is what I wanted to look at, and this is wage increases. So let's just read this part about. There's a part about Disney. Basically, it put it really well. Yeah, here you go. So it's talking about rising production costs, right? And it's painting it as a terrible picture. It's costing more. That means there's just going to be less stuff made. Why is it costing more? Let's look at it. And is that good news for actors? So it says about rising costs. In part, this has been caused by general inflation in the domestic economy, right? And that's true. I hate it, right? My electricity is costing more. My water rates are costing more. Everything's costing a bit more energy-wise. It says, but many in television also say that big budget streamers have driven up prices and wages in the sector. Netflix and Disney are able to spend big budgets per show because they can recoup it globally, said Alex Mahon, the boss of Channel 4. So the revenue they can earn per hour means they can pay a higher cost per hour. Now, again, if you've just read the headline of this and you've listened to someone on X telling you how shit the industry is, you won't have got to this graph and gone, hang on a minute, it's costing more money because we're getting paid more. That's actually a positive. So a supervising location manager pay for high-end TV drama. In 2019, they got £346.50 a day. Now they're getting £486 a day. Shout out to the makeup artists that are essential for de-shining my head on TV because I have the shiniest forehead ever. They earned their money this week, I'll tell you that. And I also, this here looks like a spot on my head. I actually bent down when I was getting my mic pack on and just smashed it off the side of a thing. So that's actually not a spot. That's me just cut my head. Makeup had to cover that up. So they earned their money
It's always
that day.
there. And it's always in the same spot, mate. You're lying to yourself. It's this spot.
No, it hurts that. No, honestly, I smashed my head. £297 they used to get in 2019. Now £396. Got £100 pay rise a day. It looks like heads of departments, riggers aren't getting as much of a pay rise, but they were on a lot anyway. They were on $470 a day. Now they're on $505.55 a day. Now I don't have actors' money here because obviously that's negotiated on an experience level, on a day-by-day kind of basis. How many production days you've got, what your engagement fee was on the last job you did. It's much more nuanced than the daily rate of crew. But a lot of the price increases on drama and why it's going up is because we're paying more. And these streamers are prepared to pay more. They're backing us more. And is that not what we want? Would we be happy for the streamers to go, nah, we're only going to put $1 million per episode in and that means everyone else gets paid less? No, they're like, look, we'll pay up to $7 million an episode and we're going to pay everybody well and we're going to do it the best we can. And yeah, we're going to go in as co-productions with you, the BBC, and we'll pay off, you'll pay off, we'll get worldwide distribution. So, maybe we'll make money as well because we're a business and we're allowed to make money. I'll hold my hands up. I'm an evil capitalist, right? I believe in businesses and I believe in growth and I believe in growing businesses, making profit and paying taxes. I believe it's the thing that actually looks after this country, and without business, we would have no country left. You would soon run out of other people's money to borrow, I promise you, because there'd be no growth. There would be no natural profits being made if you stopped capitalism in this country, right? I'm not a socialist. I'm not a communist. Don't hate me. I'm not evil. I just believe the only way to grow a country and to enable a community and a society to thrive is to encourage business, encourage those businesses to create immense value for their customers, make profit, and then pay a healthy whack of taxes. Myself, on Act On This, anyone who's a member, 20% of your fees goes to VAT. I pay another 25% of whatever's left in corporation tax. I basically get to keep 45% of your membership fee. I give 55% of your membership fee to the government, and they're wasting it, in my opinion. They need to be spending it on far better things than they're spending it on right now. I believe that, Netflix should be able to make money, and that Amazon should be able to make money if it's employing us. It's giving us work, and we're getting our fair share, of decent pay as wages are increasing. It'd be different, Petch, if these graphs were going the other way. Mm-hmm. I'd be pissed off at Netflix. I was like, hang on a minute, you're doubling your profits and yet you're paying less. Yeah. They're not, though. They're paying people more. So that's something the article isn't, sort of as upfront about in its headline. And then the fifth point that I've got here is something that I disagree with massively. And I'd love it if you guys could give me some feedback on this. Before we do that, Patch, has anyone got any comments so far? Are the people with us or do they hate us?
So, Nick has just said, not saying I disagree with you, Ross, but a lot of the big corporations aren't paying their taxes.
But Nick, I need hard evidence on that, and I understand why you're saying that, because historically we've heard headlines, and again we've read headlines about Starbucks, about Amazon. Now, I would need you to back what you just said up there with actual hard evidence of Netflix's reports, like from HMRC. I don't know is the answer, Nick. I don't know how much tax they're paying. I know it's very easy to say that they're probably getting away with it and they're not doing this and that, but we can't just throw stuff like that around without definitely being able to point to factual evidence where you can take down a report of their tax return from HMRC. And if you go on Companies House, you will be able to probably get that. And just tell me how much tax they are paying in the country, because they will have to pay. They will be being efficient. They won't break the law. If the laws are set up in this country where they can, be efficient, what company's not going to take that? So they will have to be paying. I hope. But I understand, again, if we're not careful, we can just jump to these conclusions, though, that big businesses are bad. I'm just showing you how big businesses are actually putting more money in our pockets as actors. What was that comment, Petch? I missed that.
It just said evidence is essential. Just bringing that
back
up there.
Yeah. I honestly, and that's why I'll give you my opinion, but I always try and back this up with figures and stuff, just to show you. I'm not just going to come on here and break down an article because I just think, I'll just do that. Like, I'll try and actually back it up with evidence to show you guys that actually all is not always as it seems when you just read a headline.
Before you move on to point number 5, I've got 2 more really. First one is Alex, and I agree. He says, is it just me that thinks that there's always so many crime dramas being made and it's just getting boring? It's just the same all the time. That's why I love shows like Sex Education and You. Not you personally, Ross.
Thanks,
show You. Because
I love
they
You.
were different. I mean, it's great for work if they're making crime dramas, but watching it gets boring. And again, I think I'm going to go back to what you said there. The market. When people are watching it, they're just going to keep making more of it. If people stopped watching it,
I get it, Alex. I totally get it, mate, because it can seem like that. You can go, okay, right, in the last 2 years, we've had Happy Valley, we've had, a lot of, police dramas like The Responder, we've got The Bay.
Point.
Yeah, and you would think, yeah. I mean, I get that genres are the same, but it must suggest that audiences are lapping it up, Alex. I mean, I know The Bodyguard and Line of Duty still stand, as far as I know, as having the highest viewing figures, full stop, of a drama ever in the UK, both based on police and counter-terrorism.
There's a new one out now called Protection, I think. Oh, it's coming out soon.
Not seeing it. Yeah. It's it's an interesting one. Try to think what else. I mean, there's a brand new ITV drama coming out from, what's the guy's name? His surname's Butchard. Great writer. Robbie O'Neill, who we've got on. Is it Tim? Yeah, not Tim. I don't think it's Tim. Stephen Butchard. Yeah. We've got, for those members of Act On This, by the way, tomorrow night, Robbie O'Neill, a great actor / writer. He's actually in Adolescence, and that's a brilliant freaking Netflix show that, is dropping tomorrow. Please watch Adolescence. Stars Stephen Graham, Hannah Walters. It's got just great people in it. It's written by Stephen and Jack Thorne. Directed by Phil Barantini. I'm not in it. I was at the read-through for that, though, but it's a fantastic 4-part drama. Harrowing. You probably won't be able to binge it. 4 parts, and Phil has shot each episode as one continuous shot. We've got Robbie O'Neill on tomorrow night, who is in the show, and will tell us a bit about it. He's like, what are you laughing at?
You've just gone off on a massive tangent.
Sorry.
And you've not finished your initial thought.
Sorry. I just got excited about Netflix. Yeah, I just got excited. It's a Netflix drama. It's a UK drama. I don't know what the budget was on it, but ultimately, I guarantee you that's a British story set in Britain about a British kid. Won't spoil it for you.
What's that got to do with crime drama?
Well, it's crime. He does a crime in it. But it's not totally police-based, but that'll send shockwaves around the world. I think that's going to be the best drama this year. Honest to God, I think Adolescence will be the best Netflix drama this year, made in the UK, and it'll be massive in America, even though it's a very British story. So, yeah. Right. Anything else?
One more point.
Point 5. Yeah.
Yeah, one more point, and just because we like a little disagreement of opinions, really.
Yeah,
well,
I'm
it's
open.
not really a disagreement, really. I think Catherine is agreeing with you to some point. She says, I'm all for the streamers. I think it's opened up the market for the creative industry. I totally agree with you, Catherine. But production companies need the funding of streamers who then have more of a say in what or how things are made. Yeah.
And that's just, in a business partnership, of course, if you're throwing in 50% each, you both want to say, or if a streamer's going to pay 60% and the production company's paying 40% or whatever, then you're going to maybe have more of a say. But my point to that is I need someone to point to evidence where that is producing terrible shows that none of us want to watch. Because you can say, well, the streamers are having more of a say, but what is that actually resulting in bad shows being made? Because I'm just not seeing the evidence of it. And again, I feel it's the demonization of big business. Because if you can say, well, I'd need, Catherine, I'd need a scenario from you. You might have one where you can tell me about how a production company, I don't know, has been strong-armed into producing a show they didn't want to make, or it was a rubbish show and it didn't do very well. They didn't want to make it. I can't really see any negatives. Yes, if a big business, it's like Dragon's Den, right? You go in with an idea, Petch, you go, I want to make this drama, and Peter Jones goes, okay, right, I'll give you 100 million. I mean, you better do a good drama for that, wouldn't you? Probably won't cost that much, right? But I'm going to give you, 20 million. It's only fair that he has a say in what gets made. I would want that if I was funding your short film, Petch. And I went, I'll give you 10 grand to make short film, Petch. Right, okay, you got a great script, but I want to have a say in casting. Or I want to have a say in maybe that part of the story that I think we could expand or something like that. And then I would need you to show me evidence of why my say is detrimental massively to your show. And there might be, there could be, there might be scenarios where a writer is like, I didn't see the character that I wrote like that, but the production company wanted it to go that way, and I didn't really have a say because they were stumping up the money. I can see, disagreements like that happening. But just when it comes to major issues where you go, right, we didn't produce anything that we were proud of because they had all the say and we didn't want to do anything they wanted to do. It's a collaboration. You wouldn't go into business with someone if you didn't want to work with them. Production companies can say no. They can go, we're going to hold out until we can get funding from someone else who will work with us a bit better than that. Where we can have more of a say. No one has to do it. They're not holding a gun against your head going, you can make the show with us.
I still think the story has to be good, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't fund it.
Well, no, because they want to make a profit out of it. So they're going to do that. Netflix are going to do whatever they can do for that show to make it as successful as possible for all parties. Because when the overall profits go up, your share goes up. Whether you're getting 40%, it doesn't matter. If you're getting 40% of 20 million profit, that's great. But if we can, make that 40% of 30 million profit, that's even better. And then it's better for us because we get to have the 60% of the 30 million. It's sort of like, I think what we're doing is, without thinking, is just jumping to conclusions that, as I say, big streamers are evil. Whereas when you look at actually what we're all watching, we're watching Netflix. Most people here will have potentially even had their lives changed or thoughts on certain things changed by Netflix shows they've watched in the last 12 months. You'll have laughed till you cried.
It's not just Netflix. It's Netflix.
Yes,
it's
Disney.
Amazon, it's Disney.
Prime. Yeah.
There's loads of Apple.
Yeah, it's like, we're all, shouting about these shows. Afterlife, it's amazing. Netflix. Ted Lasso, it's incredible. Have you seen it? Oh my God, Apple. And our friends, we're in the UK, our friends are in these shows. They're having their lives changed by them as well. Like, it can't just be, they're just terrible. It's like we don't want to think in any other way. We just want to go, big is bad. Let's get back to only dealing with tiny little companies because big is always bad. In a lot of industries, pharma, I think big is quite bad sometimes. In other industries that, there can be people holding people to ransom for profits and stuff when it comes to cures for diseases and things like that. We're not talking about stuff as serious as that in the TV industry. I don't think Netflix and Amazon are bad. And I've met loads of execs. I'm going to try and bring on Toby, one of the commissioners from Netflix. I got his email address when I was at a read through for adolescents, and he said he'd come on and have a chat and Act on this, just about how they go about finding shows and stuff. And I think that'd be really interesting when you actually see the human beings behind the big name, because they're just human. They just want to create great shows and tell amazing stories and find great people to be in those shows. So this is where I vastly disagree in this last point, and I would like your opinion on this as well. Again, because I said where I stand on business and capitalism, and companies being able to, sort of, it should be allowed for them to make a profit. There's something that's suggested in this article that I think, we're going down a slippery slope there of dictatorship, and I think that the current government is kind of going down this road at the moment as well, which concerns me. We won't get political. I'm not getting cancelled, right? I'm not doing any of that. I'm not having people sending me horrible messages, right? I don't like what the government's doing at the moment, but that's not for this. That's not for this chat. But basically, let me find the part of the article that says this, because I want to know what people think about this. I just think it's bad.
Is that it there?
Yeah, it's this guy here. Hang on a second. Where does it begin? I think it begins here. So the idea that has attracted most attention, this is just, I don't even want to read this word, this is really bad, is a streaming levy proposed by Peter Kosminski, the director of BBC's Wolf Hall and Channel 4's The Undeclared War. His proposal is for the government to impose a 5% tax on the US streamers' UK subscription revenues, with proceeds being set aside exclusively for high-end drama of specific interest to UK audiences, but which doesn't necessarily have cross-border appeal. Now, I can see where a lot of actors go, brilliant, yeah, great, okay, tax Netflix 5% and put that into UK production. Like I said at the start, I don't really know what they mean by high-end drama of specific interest to the UK audiences. I don't know if I'm yet to see one. I don't know if I'm yet to see a UK drama that's been really popular here that's not been popular in other territories. Because I just think, to a certain extent, great stories are great stories. And everyone
the only one I could potentially think of, but
go on.
I don't know, I don't have any evidence that it didn't do well overseas, is The Royal Family.
Oh, it's a totally different era though, wasn't it? As in the 90s. Yeah. You mean Carolina Hearn's Royal Family?
Yeah.
I honestly have no idea.
It might have done really well over in America, but
I don't know. I mean, most sitcoms, nowadays, the sitcoms like that, would be the things like The Office that have ended up turning into, big US spin-offs, haven't they? Which, has proved very lucrative for production companies and writers over here. They've sold the rights to that. Mm-hmm. I don't know, basically, but I think this is dodgy territory, right? I can see how it would actually, it could even benefit me. I still would stand against it, though, because I think, where do you draw the line, okay? and I understand the BBC are doing this because the BBC are like, well, hang on a minute, no one's paying the license fee. Well, why aren't they paying the license fee, or why are people cancelling the license fee? One, because they don't agree with your agenda, because the BBC are supposed to be impartial. Petch, I don't think they are. I think they swing very far towards one way of the political spectrum right now when it comes to news, and I think that's annoying half the country. Because if you swing one way very far, whether it's to the left or to the right, you're gonna piss off half the country, aren't you? Doesn't matter which way it is. So half the people are gonna go, I'm gonna cancel my TV license. So the BBC really do need to be impartial. I don't think they are. News-wise, as I say, I'm not talking about drama and comedy. I think the BBC do a great job of that. I'm talking like news-wise. I can see why people are cancelling their TV licenses though. So the BBC's money and revenue is going down. They're not producing their own in-house stuff that they can make the most profits of. So overall, they need these co-productions to take place. So I can see why, they kick off and jealousy are kicking and they go, right, well, that's it. It's not fair. Well, if Netflix are just producing better content than you, like just, team up with them to do better or find a different way. You can't steal money off Netflix because they're doing better than you. I can't say to any other business in the acting industry, you're making more money than Act On This, so you should give me more of that. You should give me some of that. Why? Why don't you just make your own business better? I think that this is quite dangerous here. And it says, whilst Kaminsky's plans has the support of some industry peers, including Harris and Spence, who were at this la-di-da meeting in Fitzrovia, others disagree with the approach and point out that Toxic Town, what we just said before, Baby Reindeer, and Fool Me Once are among the UK's shows made recently by Netflix. The idea that you should take the money from a streamer because the streamer's successful seems odd, says John Thoday, the co-executive chairman of Avalon. Paolo Pescatore, is that? The media analyst said the harsh reality is that the UK is free. Is the UK? I can't even read. The harsh reality is that the UK free-to-air broadcasters have been slow to react and have been left behind. Their failings should not be compensated by a so-called streaming tax, and that's what I agree with. The free-to-air broadcasters like the BBC. I was saying, Petch, I said to you this before. We were in Media City 8 years ago, and we were sat down having a cup of coffee, and I said to you, "It's amazing, isn't it?" I said, "I see Instagram as BBC One now, YouTube as BBC Two." This was like when Twitter had Periscope. I was like, people are watching that. That's got to be seen as ITV now. And I meant that as in our attention is leaning more towards online consumption. So if these corporations are not seeing that and they're not innovating, like they're going to be replaced. And that's what we're seeing happening. And we're seeing the streamers who have realised that give the viewers what they want, and that's why they're smashing it. So you can't say, well, because you're doing better than us, give us money. That's just not how the market should work. So I agree with these two at the bottom there. The harsh reality is the UK free-to-air broadcasters have been slow to react and have been left behind. Their failing should not be compensated by a so-called streaming tax. Can you imagine Netflix if it's on the other hand? Netflix is like, oh, we're not doing very well. So BBC, cough up. You're getting all that money off the UK people. They're forced to pay it for free. Give us a bit, will you? It wouldn't happen. It's just not fair. And I'm in it for fairness, even though I could benefit from that. That 5% could pay me to do UK stories or whatever. I just don't think it's fair when it comes to business. That's all. I don't think anybody here, whatever side hustle you have, or if you have a different business supporting your acting career, if you were doing better than your competition, you're a plumber, Dave's plumbing, and you're making 100 grand a year. John's plumbing down the road is only doing 20 grand, right? Because he's not as good as you. His workmanship's not as good as you. He's not using as good as supplies as you. He can't come to you and go, hang on a minute, top me up to 50 grand. Give me 30 grand because you're doing better than me. That's just not how the world works. I just don't think that's fair.
It's like in football, isn't it? It's like the top of the league flying away with all the points, and then somebody who's fighting relegation goes, give me some of your points just so I can stay up.
Yeah, you can't do it. You can't do it. Come on. Meritocracy is real. We can't just take other people's money because they have more than us. That's just not life, right?
But I think what the main thing I took from that part there is that the BBC, the UK free-to-air broadcasters have been slow to react. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
How many times has innovation just taken over in all areas?
It's the same as the black cab drivers in London. They knew about Uber 2 years before Uber came over here. I'm sorry, you can't complain about having less business when you knew Uber, who will be cheaper than you and more available than you, were going to come over to the UK. You can't stick your fingers in your ears and go, no, la, 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 go away. Let's lobby for them to be banned. That's what they did. They tried to ban Uber in major cities because black cab drivers weren't happy that they were coming in. Well, this is just innovation. Like, if I was a black cab driver and I saw what happened in New York, San Francisco, all of these other cities in major countries that were being taken over by Uber, I'd go, hang on a minute, let me sell my black cab now while it's worth something. And when Uber comes over here, I'm going to drive for Uber. You can't just. It's like we hate change and we think it's wrong. Like, it's not. BBC, all the free-to-air broadcasters, they just need to join like forces as they are doing. Or look at this, like Channel 4. They're putting full episodes of Hollyoaks on YouTube now. It's gone from getting just 100,000 views or whatever on Channel 4 when it plays out to hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of views on YouTube because it goes global. It's attracting new audiences.
It's not the first time that this has happened in our industry either. Like, it started off with radio, and then people were dead against television because television will kill radio.
Yeah.
And then it was the movies, and you had the silent movies, and then the talkies came out, and then nobody wanted the talkies because that would kill the silent actors. Do you know what I mean? We're always adapting, we're always growing, we're always changing, and this just is another chapter in that book. So people like the BBC, ITV, Channel 4, they just need to catch up.
Yeah, and I'm not saying there aren't problems in the industry. We're not coming in here to say everything's amazing and it couldn't be better. What I am coming on here is to basically just say what Nick said here. Overall, I agree with you that the article you found is shouting about a crisis, which may not be true. That's my whole point of this broadcast. I'm not here to say everything's perfect in the industry and there's nothing that could be improved. What I am here to say is that I'm seeing people, without reading this article, repost it on social media, put it on their Instagram stories, ironically, putting out on the social media that they think is killing the TV industry. Yeah. They're the ones that are spreading this news on social media, and that British stories are dying out. And I just want evidence of that. I want you to show me a British story that's not being made because it can't get the funding and it wouldn't appeal to anywhere outside of the UK, because I've just seen so many stories that are about British themes, British problems, British this, that, and the other, that have done so well globally because people are obsessed with the Brits. Yeah.
I'm obsessed with America. I want to know what's going on over there. So they're just as obsessed with what's going on over here.
The world is bonkers right now. I'd love to know what's going on in America. It sounds insane.
Dominic Ryan has said the royal family was picked up for an American pilot but never even got made. I did hear that the Kennedys was inspired by the royal family.
Oh, right. Wow. Didn't know that, Dom. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But I'd love to know people's thoughts because, like I say, we're not coming here to go, I'm dead right and this is the only way you should think. I just, I saw this article leaning very much one way. As soon as I started reading it, I saw some massive contradictions within the article itself. Even that first thing that, that we came up with there, that was just a red flag for me. If we don't do something soon, then before we know it, our British stories will simply disappear, said one attendee. Who? Put someone's name to it. Oh, you can't. People aren't going to, there's none of these amazing names here who were invited to that meeting that were happy to have them quoted in a national article that's what they said, which suggests to me that they probably didn't say it. If they were that adamant.
We have some brilliant British writers for TV at the moment that are just crushing it. So as long as they're churning out really good stories, then whoever they put that in front of would be stupid not to greenlight it and produce it and go ahead with it, right?
I'd be really interested to know, and I don't know this is something that I'd have to look up, how well Brassic has done outside of the UK, because that's proper British, right?
It's on Netflix now.
It's a jewel in the crown of Sky. It's on Netflix now. I don't know if it's available around the world. That's the only thing. I'm not sure, but when did it debut? When was that? It's 2019, I think. So it's basically Sky's most successful comedy since 2012. And it's, that to me just indicates, strong financial performance of Brassic, that it's been recommissioned 5 more times after its first outing. They don't recommission a show again and again and again unless it's profitable. So I imagine it probably has done well outside of the UK as well. And it's proper British, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be honest, So yeah, there's some fantastic stuff being made, and I'm seeing lots of production happening right now. we're only in Manchester, so it's happening in London as well, of course. But I know of all the Manchester shows. There's 4 in production right now. Another one goes into production next week. That's 5 high-end TV dramas where you're high-end as well. You're talking probably £2 million plus per episode happening in Manchester right now alone. That's that doesn't suggest to me that there's a crisis and a cash crisis threatening TV. So let us know your thoughts. Just wanted to bring that up and hopefully give you guys a little bit of optimism about the industry and just hopefully inspiring people to read properly into the stuff that they're consuming, as opposed to just reading a headline and jumping to conclusions and retweeting it and then starting this echo chamber off of just, oh, it's all terrible, because it's not. It really, really isn't. Yes, Alex, I believe that is true. It's trying to scare them. What I believe it's trying to do, honestly, to a certain extent, I believe that it's a little bit of propaganda that helps the BBC lobby the government to make more money. Because it goes, oh, let's tax the streamers. They've got loads of money, let's tax them. And our current government is all about that. They want to tax everybody who's doing well so that they tax them into poverty, basically. They're destroying businesses in this country. I feel bad. Like in April, because of the current government, a lot of companies are going to have to pay their national insurance increase, where they'll pay 15% extra national insurance per employee. I know a lot of companies that have now gone, we're not taking on any more staff. Our staff are not getting any pay rises. And not only that, but the goods that we sell that our staff end up buying are going to cost more. I don't know if you've noticed this, but Starbucks have recently, just over the last couple of days, my coffee's not gone up a little bit, Petch. It's gone up 70p.
You need to start making coffee at home.
It's got 70p, mate. It's £4.40 for a large latte now. And that's happened because Starbucks have to pay their thousands of employees. They have to pay the national insurance contributions. Now, our glorious leader, Starmer, who, I don't want to get political because you'll all hate me, I'll get cancelled, right? But he has this thing, well, I'm doing this for the working people. You're not. What you're doing is you rob the working people, because the companies that employ the working people are not going to be able to absorb those costs. So what they end up doing is they end up not giving Sandra at Sainsbury's a pay rise, because they can't do that this year. That 15% Sandra would have got. Now they take it off her. She doesn't get a pay rise, so she's on the same money. Now what they're doing is they're putting that extra money as well onto the cost of goods. So not only does Sandra not get a pay rise, when she's going and buying her bags of Uncle Ben's rice or whatever on a weekly shop, she's paying more for them. So you've screwed her over twice. That's what you've done, and you're doing it for the working people. No, you're not. So there you go.
I thought we weren't going to get political.
Everyone's going to switch off now. Just go. No, I'm just honestly. I despair sometimes. It's all wrong. This country is just wrong at the moment. We're not looking after the people who need looking after. We're taking from them, and we're demonizing any business that's actually, generating revenue that pays for the essential services in this country. And I feel sorry for all those people who are getting laid off. Who aren't getting jobs because the company now has turned around and gone, we can't actually employ you, we thought we could, and who are going to be paying more for their goods and services in April than they would have done had this not happened. So I think this article is kind of part of that. It's like, look, how can we take more money off the streamers so that we can put the money in a government vehicle, which is the BBC. So I don't know. I'm happy to be proved completely wrong, and people that say you're full of shit, Ross, and you're talking nonsense. Like, just my opinion on that article. And I just hope, that people don't get down about this industry, because it's not been as buoyant as it is right now for ages. It's in a really good place right now, honest to God. And I feel I can really say that because I speak to people on Act On This every single week in depth. We've not had a casting director on, a director on, a writer on, a producer on over the last 6 months who's not said things are picking up and it's getting really good. A lot of the people that we get on actually said last year was great for them. They didn't stop working. There's always been work available for people who actually, who really go out there and get it and look at this industry with optimism and positivity, as opposed to dwelling, wishing things were different and sitting at home crying about it. You can't, and this is something as well that I'm passionate about. Another little side thing here. We know, we're doing a program at the moment called Bulletproof Actor, and it's closed now. I'm not selling it. You can't get involved in it. I'm not selling it. You can't get involved in it if you wanted to. But it's a high performance mindset coaching program, and it's all about positive psychology. So it's on my mind a lot at the moment. We know through the science that one of the major causes of depression, right, is rumination. Think about it. When you're sad, what is going through your mind when you're actually sad and you're making yourself sad? You are ruminating on your problems. That's the only time you feel sad, when you're thinking about your problems, right? This is a really obvious thing that we don't think about. And that can be in all areas of your life. Now, if you're following people on social media where every post they put out is a rumination on how terrible this industry is, like retweeting this article, telling you everyone's against you, telling you, oh, the industry's demanding more of you and giving you less, and oh, it's all horrible. What they're doing is they're putting negativity into your head again and again and again and again. And it's dangerous because I think it can actually lead to people getting actually depressed about their career, about the opportunities available to them, and about this industry as a whole. And that's why I want to be a voice kind of standing up against that, because it's not as bad as people are painting, you know. And what they're doing is they're selling you this narrative that it's all bad, because then they can sell you a solution. Oh, it's all terrible, so why don't you come on my course? Why don't you come to my fucking weekend workshop and you pay me £300 and I'll make you feel better. No, what you're doing there is you're making me feel shit, and then you're selling me a solution. How about you just make me feel great? And then, you know, if you want to offer things, because we offer stuff, we offer courses, it's fine. Just let people join them if they want to join them. You know, you don't have to make them sad and feel terrible about their career in order to sell your products.
Just to jump in here a little bit, just so that doesn't get misconstrued. Ross said at the beginning there, when people are sad, we're not talking about clinical depression at that point. We're talking about when you're feeling
I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor, you know, anything like that. I'm talking about just when we feel, you know, when you just get up in the morning, you feel shit. What's generally happening is you're thinking about a problem in your head. I know I am. Like, if I feel bad about something, in that moment, I'm feeling bad because I'm thinking about it. Oh, I've got all this work to do. Oh my God, I've not done this. I've not done that. I'm overwhelmed. You know, so being told again and again about how this industry is against you is not doing you any favors, and it's not the reality either. You know, you are really powerful. You have an awful lot of power in your own life, a lot of autonomy. You know, you have the ability to ask for things from this industry, put yourself out there, get better through effort, improve, evolve. Like, I just don't want people sitting there feeling hopeless and then seeing articles like this and thinking well, there's a reason to feel hopeless. There's not. Like, you know, there's a lot of good in the industry right now, a lot of opportunity. And we talk about it every single week on Act On This TV with a top guest. So if you want more of this and you want to be around a group of people who are going to inspire you and motivate you and actually show you the realities of the opportunity that is in the industry, come and get involved. And we do a call every single week with the biggest names in the game. This is a little pitch for you now, but we have got a great guest on tomorrow night. In fact, I'll bring this up. I've not even got this ready, Petch, but I'll just show you.
That up,
go on.
Just something I wanted to jump in there with, you know, talking about how you feel kind of affects the rest of your day and stuff like that. I go to the gym now first thing in the morning. That was one of my goals this year, is to get up and get it done.
Yeah, early doors.
Another one of my goals really is to be more mindful. So on my walk back from the gym, I listen to a walking meditation, and I change it up every day. And there's one, and what the person says is, what you think about, you bring about, and what you focus on, you attract. So if you're thinking about like the bad stuff in the industry, and that's all you're focusing on, that's all you'll ever see. So let's focus on what, instead of focusing on what could go wrong, focus on what could go right, and have more of that in your life. Surely that's a better place to be.
Definitely. You know, even, you know, I'm a big believer in that. I can, you know, ultimately kind of like bend my own reality. I don't mean that as in magically, as in like, if I'm not really, you know, my life's not going the way that I want it to go, then I have the power to change that. Now, even if, let's just say that that's not true, it's all predetermined, what's going to happen to you is always going to happen to you. Is it not better to at least think you've got some say over it and get up in the morning with that attitude to go, actually, I can change the trajectory of my day today if I choose, you know, to make better decisions in my life, do things for me that my future self will thank me for. It's definitely better. It's just, you know, it's honestly like, it's just a far better way to be in the world. This is the page. If you go to actonthis.tv/live, you can check out our live call schedule. This is happening tomorrow night. There's Robbie O'Neill, absolute legend. So please go and watch this drama. It drops tomorrow on Netflix. Talking about Netflix, it's very apt. Adolescence there. You can see a little picture of it there. Stephen Graham in the shot there with his arms crossed. The top picture, that's Robbie O'Neill with his arms crossed on the right. Adolescence is a great show. Comes out tomorrow on Netflix. Robbie is in it. Robbie also is Phil Barantini is the director. Robbie's kind of like his right-hand man when it comes to auditions. Robbie will read in all the auditions for Phil. He did it for Adolescence. He did it for Phil's show Boiling Point, and he works with actors. He's in the audition room with Phil all the time. So he's a great guy to talk to about smashing auditions, particularly if you want to work with Phil Barantini. He's in Adolescence, and also, you know, this guy's just a working-class lad from Liverpool. He lost his building job in 2008 in the financial crash. Did he dwell? Did he ruminate? No, he thought, you know what, sack it, I'm going to retrain as an actor. crazy decision. And since he's gone on to star in some great shows, The Responder, Boiling Point, Adolescence he's in. And he didn't stop there. The guy's decided, he's always had a good interest in writing. He's recently just written 2 episodes of Stephen Butchard's new drama. It's called This City Is Ours. It's a Liverpool-based crime drama. Sorry, Alex. Crime again. And it's out later this year. Stars Sean Bean. And Robbie's written 2 episodes of it. So he's a brilliant guy to get on to talk about basically creating your own destiny, being in control of your career, writing stuff yourself. He's filmed Seconds Out there. You see the poster of Phil Barantini directed that. That's how he met Phil. He actually met Phil on a drama called Little Boy Blue, but they got friends, became
Alex
friends.
Shock
horror on the crime drama. But yeah, this is happening tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Basically, if you're an actor, you really want to take control of your career, you want to be more creative, maybe you've got an idea in your head, you want to get out of your head, down on paper, metaphorically, get it into a script, write your own stuff, maybe your first short film, learn how writing for TV even works, what it's like working with Stephen Graham, what it's like working with Phil Barantini. We're covering it all tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Week after, we got these 2 legends, Emma Sylvester and Jessica Jeffries, top casting directors, brilliant people. They're back with us the week after that, so you get a seat on that if you've got an Act On This membership as well. We've got other great guests coming up that I've not added to this page yet, but actonthis.tv/live. We do it every single week. The biggest casting directors, agents, actors, writers, directors, and producers in the game. As your acting career mentors, basically, every single week you get to jump on these calls live. You get the recordings as well, but if you are there live, you can ask your own questions. We hang out for 2 hours. You get the inside info that will really help you push your career forward faster. So do come and get involved. Actonthis.tv, and I'll play that video out that you can see there. I'll play that out to end in a second, Petch. But is there anything you want to say to wrap up, mate?
Just quickly, the Daily said, I've got an accent class at the exact same time. Don't worry, everything is recorded and put up the next day on the website, so you can catch up on all of our past features as well, so you can just watch them in your own time.
Yeah, there's 100 in the members area right now you get instant access to that we've done in the last year. Again, biggest names of the game. So there's one with Phil Barantini. Talking about Phil, there's a session with Phil in the members area talking about how he auditions actors and how you can get on his radar, and his entire career. He's had a really interesting career, faced a lot of adversity and turned it to his advantage. So yeah, it's all in there. If you like the content we're putting out and you want to get more of it, literally on demand 24/7. If you get a membership to Act On This, you can start listening to that stuff, watching it back literally right now, and you don't have to be on any of the live calls. You'll get access to the recordings the day after they take place. But thanks, folks. We've done just over an hour. Anything you want to say to wrap up, Petch? And I'll play this trailer out of Robbie. Oh, I better upload it, actually. We've got we've got about a minute while I actually upload this. What else would you like to add, Petch? Anything going down?
Just a couple of things. Like, whenever you see things like that now in future, when you see the headlines and things, please do read the article. Please do your own research, not just be a headline reader and, share it because of you want clicks or anything like that. Do your own research. Like, I think that's so vital, so important. And if there's anything that you are struggling with, or if you think you're missing something, get in touch with me, get in touch with Ross. We can go through it and we can help guide you in the right path. But as you are watching this on YouTube, one of those dreadful naughty streamers, please do give us a like, please do give us a subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can stay alerted to whenever we do go live in future. If you're not over on YouTube at the moment, because I see a lot of people are on X, do come over to YouTube, youtube.com/ActOnThisTV, give us a subscribe. Put a comment below with what you think of that article. Do you think we've hit the nail on the head? Do you disagree with us? Let us know why you disagree with us. We always read the comments, and we do like we like a friendly conversation, really, don't we? Do follow us on all social medias at Act On This TV across the board, at Ross A. Grant across the board, at Petch_Act On This across the board. I think that's everything.
Nice. I just want to shout out as well to William Turville. No hate, mate. We still love you. I just, not calling you out for your article. I just think he's a journalist, isn't he? He's got to write stuff that's going to get clicks and he's going to
he's just doing his job.
Get read. Yeah, he's just doing his job. No hate, mate. We're just doing our job. And maybe, if you want to come on and have a chat about it all together, then come on a live stream, Will. We'll have you on. You're more than welcome, mate. Any time. Yeah, we're definitely not, throwing hate around.
He's an avid viewer of his, Will. He watches all our stuff.
Not now. He's just here. Will's just gone unsubscribe. Unsubscribe.
Block.
Unsubscribe. Block. Reports. Yeah, absolutely. Will's gonna be coming around. No, honestly, really mean it. Genuinely. I just know that people read headlines, don't read articles. And obviously articles, of course, are spun in a certain direction, as this broadcast has been spun in a certain direction as well. You know, we just have opposing views, and it's good to talk it out sometimes. And hopefully people can come to a balanced conclusion then when you hear both sides of the story. I think that often leads to far better outcomes when people debate things. So we're always open to debate, and if you completely disagree with us, write in the comments, and I'm totally open to that as well. Right, this is uploaded, so I will finish by playing this out. And this is taking place, tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. If you go over to actonthis.tv/live, get your membership. It'll cost you literally the price of that Starbucks latte a week that I was talking about before. Starbucks are quite expensive, so just forgo a Starbucks, come and join actonthis.tv, hang out with the best names in the game, and let's earn you some money. I am bitter about it, mate, to the point where Paula, who works in Starbucks, I said, can you just bring it up to make sure this is right? Because I think these prices have gone up too much. Honestly, do you know what? A large mocha, don't get a mocha now, a large white mocha with oat milk is £6.40. Who's got £6.40 on one drink? I mean, come on. Isn't that more expensive than alcohol now?
Just have a tea.
It's a bit ludicrous. So yeah, don't get a mocha. Come and join actonthis.tv. Hang out with the biggest names of the game, and we'll help you earn money to actually afford the mockers. When you're big time. Right. So we'll say bye for now, Petch, and I'll play this out. But thanks to everybody. Love to you all. Let us know your thoughts, and we'll catch up with you soon. Until next time, Petch. You know what time it is? In 3, 2, 1.
Bye.
Bye for now. Nice. Got the catchphrase out. I've got to take you off the screen, Petch. Take myself off and let's play this out. Take care, everybody. Have an amazing day. We'll speak to you soon. Bye for now. Actors, this Thursday, the 13th of March, two amazing things are happening. Number one, Netflix dropped their brand new drama, Adolescence, a gripping four-parter starring Stephen Graham, directed by Phil Barantini. But number two, I'm biased, I'm going to say it's even better than that. I am hosting our weekly Act On This member live mastermind session at 7:30 p.m. on Zoom with this absolute legend here. Also appearing in Adolescence and writer on upcoming BBC drama This City Is Ours. It's actor, writer, Robbie O'Neill. Robbie, it's amazing to have you here, mate. First time on Act On This. What are we going to be chatting about on Thursday night, then?
We're going to be chatting about kind of like the joy and that kind of the nourishments in creating your own work. We're going to be able to talk a bit about kind of perspective in the industry and, the glory in being a jobbing actor, that kind of stuff. Bit about like harnessing the talents of the people around you and helping each other out and being like conducive to good work and as a community, and also kind of just like being comfortable with the right time to become an actor. There's never a wrong time. The right time for you is the right time for you. If you're 50 years of age and you decide that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. So yeah, we'll be talking about things like that.
I love it. It's honestly, it's going to be an incredible session. I've wanted to get Robbie on for absolutely ages. This guy is very humble, doesn't brag about anything, but he's achieved some incredible stuff, worked with some amazing people. Adolescence, obviously, incredible show. He's worked with Phil on many, many projects. Phil actually directed your first short film. So go back a long way. If you want to get involved in this, folks, it's going to be a really inspiring, motivational session. Get yourself over right now to actonthis.tv/live for full details of this session and every session, every week this year. We are still sitting down with the biggest names in the game, the biggest actors, agents, casting directors, writers, directors, producers, the best people basically who are going to help you push your acting career forward way faster. So actonthis.tv/live for that. And Robbie, I'm going to put you on the spot. I ask every guest this, but why don't actors want to miss this one in particular?
Okay. Do you know what? I haven't had like the most kind of narratively perfect career. It's been down, but I'm 12 years in, I'm still at it.
Yep.
And I feel like the future's bright, and I'm just like many of the people who probably in your community at some point have decided this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. And I feel like at this point I'm proof that if you put your mind to it, you graft hard and you stay positive, then you can find happiness in this industry without doubt.
It is absolutely possible if you want to live a happier life in this industry. Be there, folks. Actonthis.tv/live.